Hello. If you hear any random noises, it's probably my son or the dogs sitting at my kitchen table and they're running around everywhere. As part of the instruction for iLearn Day 1, what I'm going to be doing is screen recording on the iPad as I work out a problem or two from each section of our study guide. Problem number 1, it says you have the ratios of the measures of triangles as 8, 3, and 4. So if you put an X next to those and add them, interior angles are 180 for a triangle. So to work that out, you would solve for X. Once you know X, you multiply it times each one of the pieces of the ratio, and that'll give you your final answers. You do the same thing for problem 2, except you use 130 feet since this problem's about perimeter. Problem 3 and 4 involve scale factor. So when it comes to scale factor, you choose sides that are corresponding. I'm going to choose the largest side and the largest side. You do have to go in the order of the directions. So on problem 3, it'd be 36 over 20, and you would reduce that fraction. Problem 4, you have to switch to figure B first, figure A as the denominator. I'm going to pick the smallest side from figure B, but you can pick any side and reduce it. Smallest side would be 9. And then the smallest side would be 12. You reduce that fraction, that gives you the scale factor. Problem 5, it looks like we have a similarity statement here. So that tells you which sides go with which. KL, which is the first two letters, go with VW, which is the first two letters. So it'd be 25 over 20. And then that would be equal to the corresponding sides of 4x minus 23 and 2x plus 2. Honestly, I would reduce this fraction. That'd be 5 over 4, and then you could cross multiply and solve for x. Now pay attention on the directions. Sometimes they'll say find the value of x. Sometimes they'll say find the side length, and they'll tell you which two letters that you're plugging in with. If you turn to the next page, you're doing the same things on problem 7 and 8. Problem 9, it looks like they give us... We've got a triangle inside of a triangle. If it helps, draw them separate. You don't have to. And if you do draw them separate, what you're going to see is you're missing the entire side length here. So you have to actually add together the 15 and the x plus 3, which will give you x plus 18. Now you can set up your proportions. X plus 3 over x plus 18 is equal to 4 over x plus 3. And then you'd solve that. Once you know what x is, then you would substitute it back in, and you'd plug in for side NF. And side NF being this entire length here. So 15 plus whatever your x is plugged into here, and then add 3 to it. That would be how you get full credit. Problem 10, you got scale factor on this one of 4/3. And that's big number over small number. So in your other fraction, you'd use the perimeter. So add up all these sides, whatever that is, you'd put over x, and then you would cross multiply, and you would solve for this x value. Excuse me. Problem 11, here's where we transition into angle-angle similarity, side-side-side similarity, and side-angle-side similarity. If you have a problem like 11, I would do my vertical angles. And this looks like side angle side. But to check that, you have to check your proportions to see if they will reduce to give you the same amount. So I'm going to do the smallest side over the smallest side. So 15 over 21 is equal to my longer side over my longer side. So 28 over 39.2. Now you can either do the decimal form or the fraction form. This is the Calculate 84 app. It works on any smart device. If you check, it looks like they do reduce to give you the same amount. So then what you would want to do is write a similarity statement. So for our similarity statement, you have to use the same order of letters. So if they give you PKM, P corresponds with L, so that has to come first. K corresponds with Q, that comes next, and then M corresponds with M. So you do the same thing on all these problems. Just make sure you're evaluating doing angle-angle, side-side-side, or side-angle-side similarity on problems 11 through 16. Problem 17, we're not doing proofs, so you can skip that. Problem 20 through 24, maybe even further, what you're doing there is you are checking to see what x would have to be. Now, this is going to be your fraction bar. This is the side splitter theorem. So you do x over 18 is equal to, you're missing this little chunk here, so you would have to do 28 minus 21 to find that, giving you 7 for your missing piece over 21. And then you cross multiply, solve for x. You do all these the same way, like this is your fraction bar. So one of your fractions is x plus 5 over 15. Your other fraction is 5x plus 1 over 35. And then you would cross multiply. You do, like I said, all of these the same way. So I'm not going to do them all. Here's your fraction, here's your fraction. On 23, here's your fraction, here's your fraction. On 24, here's your fraction, here's your fraction. A 25, you're checking to see, are these actually parallel or not? So to check and see if they're parallel, you would just set up your fractions and see if they reduce to give you the same amount. You can either do the fraction form, you can do the decimal form, or you can cross multiply. If you cross multiplied, that'd be 10 times 15 is 150, 6 times 36 is 216. So you would say not parallel on number 25. Do the same thing on 26. Problem 27 through 32. These are the problems from section 7.5. And all you have to do is set up proportions and solve. So 35 corresponds to 42. So that'd be one fraction. And then you got x with 24. Cross multiply, divide, and you'll be done. Do the same thing on 28. Do the same thing on 29. PQ goes with HE. And then 48, which is QS, goes with 32. And if you want to save a little time, reduce this fraction and then cross multiply. And then lastly, 30 through 32, they all say solve for x. So I would do the angle bisector theorem here, let you create a fraction out of 40 and x. And then you're missing this little chunk, so you do have to do 34 minus 18. And then whatever that is, you'd put over 18. Cross multiply, you'd be done. Do the same thing on 31. This missing chunk here would be x, take away 9. So if you set up your fraction, this is what you'd have. And then you cross multiply. Do the same thing here. Here's a fraction, here's a fraction. Email me with any questions that you have.